Welcome back to that Eric Alper Show on Canada Talks.
People seem to come up to me on a daily basis and send me hundreds of emails a week saying, can you check out my son's band? Can you check out my daughter's band? Can you check out my band? And invariably, if I open it up, I'm kind of crossing my fingers and hope that they know how to do one thing other than spelling my name right. It's how to write a song. Because everybody hears something on the radio and invariably they'll say, I could write that. Well, partner, now is your chance to put up or shut up. The book is called The Song Creation Formula, 7 Easy Steps to Writing Your Song. And it is written by SigneMiranda, who I met at Canadian Music Week, and she gave me this book, and I was like, oh, please. Like, there's no way that anybody can actually be taught how to write a song. And I read the book, and it's like, this is actually really good. And she does not only helpful tips and hints, but also has an amazing interviews with Canadian songwriters like Jim Cuddy from Blue Rodeo, Treble Charger, Susanna, Jeremy Fisher, Kat Goldman, Luke from Whitehorse, and Craig from The Odds. And she joins me now. Hey, how are you?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on the show, Eric.
Okay, so what makes you think that like you can write a book about how to write a hit song? Like isn't it one of those things that is just magic that I like to say? It's just magic. It just comes to you.
Well, I've been doing songwriting coaching and teaching workshops, and it's not as about writing a hit song, it's about unleashing the song of your soul and bringing out that creativity. So I've been working with people, and I decided to write a book so I could share that information with more people.
Right, and you can get the book at songcreationformula.com. When you sat down and decided that you wanted to do interviews with people, was it to learn about their way of writing a song, or was it to kind of back up what you thought that you had already figured out?
It was to learn more about how other songwriters write songs, and I thought it would be really cool to interview my favorite songwriters. So I just started making a list and contacting them. Yeah,
I find that talking with songwriters, they kind of enjoy talking about their craft, even though that they may not know exactly how it all happens, like how lines get into their head, but they like talking about it though, trying to figure it out.
Absolutely.
You spoke with Jim Cuddy, and you were telling us off air that Blue Rodeo was your all-time favorite band. How was that like?
It was really nerve-wracking. It was the first interview I did out of all 7.
Right. So get the big one over and done with right away.
Exactly. I wasn't really ready to write the book, and then I ran into him at a show, and I asked him if I could interview him. So I said, okay, well, I guess I'm starting the book now. Yeah.
What kind of things were you asking him about?
I asked him about what his influences were, when he started writing, what he does when he gets stuck with his songwriting.
Yeah. And what did he say about getting stuck?
He said to like work through it and sit down and keep working on the song. And sometimes he'll have like 2 or 3 songs going through his head for a few months, and then it'll finally come together. Yeah, I find that kind of writing fascinating because it's hard when you have more than one thought in your head, and you're trying to put all the pieces together. But then when you're writing a song, you could either do it in self-seclusion and just shut everything out and finish the song. And then there's other people who have 15 songs on the go. Exactly. And I heard both perspectives from the people I was asking about what they do when they get stuck. Some of them said they just keep working on it, or they work on another aspect of the song. Some of them said they go take a break, they go for a walk, they do some chores. Yeah. Was there one person that kind of surprised you at how they were writing songs? I think the most surprising interview was the one that I did with Greig Nori from Treble Charger. He had so much knowledge about how to get into the heart of the song and the depth of the song and how to really say it in a different way than other people have said it before. And the interview ended up being like a couple of hours, so I really had to edit it. And he must have a very unique perspective because not only was he writing songs in the band, but now he's a pretty heavy-duty producer. So he has that aspect because people think that it's just writing lyrics down on a piece of paper and then that's it. And then you go in with your band and the producer doesn't have a say. But from his perspective, the producer probably has a great deal or as little as input as you want in writing that song to begin with. Yeah, definitely in the performance of it. And one thing he really emphasized in working with bands is to have them test it out in different styles to see what style really fits and what they can take from different styles to do the final production of that song.
Yeah. I'm talking with SigneMiranda, and the brand new book is called The Songwriting Formula, 7 Easy Steps to Writing Your Song. And it's interesting that you don't mention the word hit in there, because if you go to Google and you type in how to write a song, it's like how to write a hit song, and then there's people that I've never even heard of before that apparently have written hit songs. Can you really break it down to a formula? Are there things that when you finish reading the book you can really truly write a song?
Yes, what I did was I took the different elements of a song that are important and then put it in a series of steps. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that specific order, but it's all the components that a song needs.
Like what?
Well, first of all, you need a title, and you want to have an outline and a structure to go through the story of the song, or to bring about different aspects of an idea, so you have a complete thought. It's like an essay, really.
Yeah. How important is the title to a song?
I think it's very important, because when somebody has a part of a song stuck in their heads, it's usually the catchy part of the song. And if the title is different than what the catchy part of the song is, they're not going to remember the title. Right.
There's a study that somebody did in the last 30 years of Billboard top 10s, and they've realized that the song titles were shrinking to 1 word or 2 words because it was really easy for these kids to remember. And it could have something to do with ADD. It could have something to do with just bad memory loss, or it could just have something to do with they figured out that formula of coming up with that really catchy song title.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are some of the other aspects of it? Because you were mentioning telling the story. Is there a difference between telling your story than writing for somebody else's story?
I think it's the same type of process, because you want to take the listeners through this journey, and you want them to understand what the emotions are and understand where the story is going. And it might not be about a story. It might be kind of like an essay where you have these different points and different perspectives. So it works that way if you're talking about somebody else's story or your own story.
Yeah. How important is it that it's your own story as opposed to maybe taking parts of somebody else's life and using it for your own story? Does it even matter anymore?
I think what matters is that you connect with the emotion of it. Jim Cuddy was talking about this, where he's walking around and he observes everything around him, and he might get song ideas from that, but then he brings it back to his own emotions that would connect to that particular story.
Yeah, so never hang around like Jim Cuddy, because, one of the lines that you actually say to him might actually be, that would drive me up the wall if I had that antenna to, first of all, I can't write a song. I play no instruments. You can't even stick me in a studio and I would have absolutely no idea what to do. But to have that spidey sense of picking up people's conversations or hearing something and saying, that would make a really good song. That to me is fascinating beyond belief.
Absolutely.
Was there a common thread of the people that you did an interview with? Was there one thing that, even though that they're all from different walks of life and different kind of musical styles, was there one thing that you could say that they all do?
Yeah, actually, there were a few things I noticed. Most of them started between the age of 11 and 15, really getting into songwriting. Why
do you think that was?
Well, I think that's a time where you're discovering who you are, and that's when I started writing songs.
Right. And then you mentioned that there was another common thread.
Yeah, actually, most of them mentioned Bob Dylan as an influence.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think that that's because they think that he's a great songwriter? Or do you think that that was the ages of the people that you did an interview with?
I think that they all thought he was a great songwriter. And interestingly, I interviewed Jim Cuddy first, and several of the other people I interviewed referred to his songwriting and how they admired it.
Oh, see, that's interesting. So it's like a kind of passing it on. Because I wonder if the people that are writing songs now for Justin Bieber or Beyonce or Selena Gomez, what their reference points are. Because it may not be Bob Dylan, but it might be Duran Duran for all I know. So it's interesting to always take a look at that. The book is called The Song Creation Formula, 7 Easy Steps to Writing Your Song, and you can get it at songcreationformula.com. In talking to all of these amazing songwriters like Luke from Whitehorse and Jeremy Fisher and Susanna, has it helped your songwriting? Can you go back and maybe look at the last batch of songs that you wrote using their pieces of advice?
Yeah, actually, there was something that Greig was talking about, and also Chris Birkett, who wrote the foreword. He talked about this when I interviewed him later on, about how when you get in a flow state, the song kind of comes through you, and you're not really writing it so much as being a vessel for the song to come through.
Yeah. Do you find that there are certain people who may believe that from a specific advantage point, meaning that there's people who believe that the songs do come through them, and then there's somebody like a Carole King who sits down with a blank sheet of paper and does not move until that song is finished?
I think it's a bit of both, because the song is coming through you, the ideas are flowing when you sit down. It's when the editing comes in, when you start to intellectualize it, and that's when you're crafting the song.
Yeah. When you're writing a song, do you fight it? Do you see it through?
Sometimes it's a struggle, and sometimes it just comes out easily, but I always sit down and finish the song. I might edit it later, but I sit there until I'm done.
And how do you know when to start editing? And how do you know when a song is finished?
Well, it's got all the parts to it, and it feels done.
Yeah, yeah. Except if you're like Kanye West, and then you can just keep like redoing your songs over and over again on the same album. For people that are new into the music industry or to the entertainment industry, it kind of blew me away when I learned that sometimes the most creative industries are the ones that are really the most uncreative one, is that they do follow a formula, that there are roads that you need to go on. If somebody decides to write a song that's away from the regular song structures that you would hear on the radio, such as like really quick opening, verse, get to the chorus within like 30 seconds, and then verse, and then chorus, and chorus. If you don't stick to that, what are your chances of actually having a hit song?
I think that sometimes when a song is really unique, if it has the elements of like a really catchy melody and an idea that connects with everybody, it can break all those rules and still be a hit song.
Yeah. What's your favorite song?
My favorite song right now is 3 Hours Away by Blue Rodeo.
Why?
My heart melts when I hear that song.
Yeah. How much does the non-lyrical part of the song, how much does the melody or the instruments, or even when you hear that song, how much of that affects the audience's enjoyment of the song?
I think the instrumentation also has a lot to do with it. Like, I love the lap steel on it. Bob Egan plays beautiful lap steel parts on Blue Rodeo songs.
Right. Okay. So to all these naysayers that say that they can do better and that they can write a hit song and it looks so easy, I'm kind of here to tell you that it's not. Like, it's really different. I think it's really, really hard to write a 3-minute pop song or a 3-minute folk song. I think it's easier to do a 15-minute prog song, unless all of these people are certainly going to write me emails to say, no, this is impossible. But I think to be really, really tight with all of your time is really difficult to do.
It's interesting because when I do the workshops, we do an exercise together where we write a song together in like 10 minutes as a whole group. And
right.
I think that when you're really focused on it and you just go and do it, you can write a song easily. It might not be a great song, but you can get the song out and then edit it after.
Right. Okay. So this is your task for today. If you've never written a song, write a song and then send it to me or tweet me on that Eric Alper. And then if it's great, then I'll send it over to you, and then we'll just kind of maybe tweak it up a little bit, put our names in the writing columns and in the writing sections, and sit back and wait for the royalties to come in while it's a hit song. The book is called The Song Creation Formula, 7 Easy Steps to Writing Your Song, and you can get it at songcreationformula.com. And thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Eric.
Coming up next, Chaim Tannenbaum, brand new artist. Well, not necessarily. His first album came out this month. He's 68. Wait till you hear his story on That Eric Alper Show, Channel 167, Canada Talks.